Underwater in the blue haze of the Pacific, Lulu Miller swims into a shimmering school of fish. She emerges, breathless, not just from the dive, but because she's just fallen utterly in love. But here's the catch. Those fish don't actually exist. At least not in the way you think. This paradox, fish that don't exist, pulls us deep into a story of chaos, obsession, and the wild quest to find order in a world that keeps breaking apart. Meet David Starr Jordan, a man on a mission to name the unnameable. But his quest for order collided violently with chaos, testing the limits of obsession. Jordan was that guy who cataloged nearly 20% of all fish species known in his era. But disaster struck hard. The 1906 San Francisco earthquake reduced his fragile glass jars to shards, smashing over 1,000 discoveries. Lightning, fires, nature seemed hellbent on erasing his life's work. Imagine decades of relentless effort, suddenly shredded on the floor like broken dreams. Taxonomy for Jordan was like building a cosmic filing system, an alphabet for all life. Picture a librarian organizing chaos, each fish assigned a neat place like books on a shelf. But the universe, it didn't hand him that luxury. It threw his library into a hurricane, challenging the very idea that nature could be boxed in neat categories. After the wreckage, most would have quit. Not Jordan. He stooped, grabbed the first fish he could identify, and started again. This time innovating a new system he believed could withstand entropy. It was a defiant act of hope, proof that even when the world falls apart, a single, focused act can pave the way for rebuilding everything. Here's where the world twists. The classification Jordan chased was built on shaky ground. Fish, it turns out, might just be a beautiful lie. Jordan's grand taxonomy hinged on the idea that fish shared a common blueprint. Turns out, fish don't belong to one tidy branch. They're scattered across the evolutionary tree. Biologists now see that fish isn't a real group but more a catch-all, like calling all parked cars vehicles, when really they're vastly different. The word fish is just a human convenience, not truth. Nature prefers chaos to order. Imagine a kaleidoscope constantly shifting, patterns dissolving before you can define them. Miller shows us that attempts to force the natural world into neat boxes inevitably fail. Instead, chaos is the baseline state, and our classifications are just temporary shadows on the wall. By accepting that fish don't really exist as a category, Miller reveals a powerful shift. Breakthroughs can come when you stop trying to control everything. Sometimes, clarity comes from ditching the map and swimming freely in the messy ocean of reality. Jordan's story isn't just history, it's a mirror crack reflecting Miller's own struggles with chaos and grief. Her dive is part scientific quest, part human reckoning. When Miller first heard Jordan's story, she saw a fool stubbornly denying reality. But as her own life unraveled, relationships, meaning slipping away, she began to feel a strange kinship with him. Diving into his life, she unearths lessons on making sense of loss and disorder, discovering a surprising guide in a man obsessed with fixing a broken world. Jordan's relentless rebuilding after disaster becomes a blueprint for hope. Instead of collapsing under chaos, Miller sees how you carry pieces forward, like assembling a mosaic from shattered glass. This metaphor echoes in her own narrative, showing us how to approach our messes not as failures, but as chances to remake meaning. Ultimately, the book teaches that chaos isn't the enemy, but the environment of life. Learning to navigate and embrace it, like Jordan and Miller sinking beneath waves, is the real test of resilience. The universe will break your collections, but you get to decide if you rebuild or disappear. Back in that Pacific blue, Miller's swim through a nameless school of fish becomes a symbol. Life resists neat labels, disasters erase our best efforts, yet we still dive in again. Try this. Next time your plans shatter, pause, find the first fish you recognize, and start rebuilding differently. Because in a chaotic world, your stubborn hope might just be the most radical thing you do. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.